We up in here, honey. We waiting for our other real friends, y'all. So, we about to crank up this song, so I'm waiting for our first view to come on in.
My comeback on 100. Let's talk it, more action. You just go see coming. I just keep elevating. No loss is just upgrading. My lessons made blessings.
Come on in the room. I said
I cannot.
Big B and that B stand for bands. If you wanna see some real ass, baby, here's your chance. I say left cheek, right cheek, drop it low.
Like all my pictures too. Girl, who?
Oh, and they think they so cute too. I have to speak to them. Hey, girl, I see you.
who me, girl? Okay, what you see?
Her track slipping. I got to see them up close. I'm finna. Hey, come in real quick, cutie.
I told you I was fine today. Come over here with me right quick.
Why you look so familiar, girl?
We have some stuff to say. All right. So, news has been spiraling that Little Mama is being called transphobic. All right. So I know Little Mama came out in the early 2000s. So roughly around the 99, 2000s era. So we up in here, honey. We waiting for our other real friends, y'all. So, we about to crank up this song, so I'm waiting for our first view to come on in.
Drama party.
Did you know that music in the background?
I can. I can set it up while you set on this.
Come on in the room. I said
I cannot.
Fans, Big B and that B stand for bands. If you wanna see some real ass, baby, here's your chance. I say left cheek, right cheek, drop it low and swan.
Welcome to our impromptu Keeping It Real with
Shirts and Andre. Yo, we official. We got the shirts. We got the shirts.
Like all my pictures too. Girl, who?
Oh, and they think they so cute too. I have to speak to them. Hey, girl, I see you.
who me, girl? Okay, what you see?
Her track slipping. I got to see them up close. I'm finna. Hey, come in real quick, cutie.
I told you I was fine today. Come over here with me right quick.
Why you look so familiar, girl?
What do you think would be enough for you to say like no?
Okay.
Like if that person had a record.
So what's a deal breaker?
Yeah,
for
like
if
what's
they
the
had
deal breaker for you?
I don't do child molesters. My thing is saying we have some stuff to say. All right. So, news has been spiraling that Little Mama is being called transphobic. All right. So I know Little Mama came out in the early 2000s. So roughly around the 99, 2000 era is going to appear whether we like it or not. And so that's why honesty is a big key, especially in relationships nowadays.
I would definitely agree with the whole child molestation thing. I don't do that. Shit. I don't know. I haven't really. I can't just get out the way. I'll start with it.
Yes, go ahead.
What's popping, y'all?
What's good?
What's going on? What's going on? This is exciting.
This is exciting.
This is a new
streaming platform.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna work out. I'm enjoying it. Go ahead and come on. Go ahead and
Come on. In the round. said, come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. Well, you know, we don't have my hype girl with us. I need my hype girl. Like, she ain't here.
I know. We missed you.
Tootie, listen, girl. I'm about to bring my belt to you, girl. Cause my baby's been missing you, girl. And
you know, you got the people missing you. You got your followers. So,
yes,
you know,
girl. You know,
we're going to do what it do. We're going to keep it moving on. This is Keeping It Real with
Audrey
and Trez, y'all. What's going on?
What's up? So
I know this is a later time.
I know. I'm sorry, y'all. Don't judge us. We're like streaming on all different platforms right now. So we do apologize if it's a little fuzzy. We're gonna definitely work on the resolution. So just bear with us while we're testing things out and working with new technology, especially with Melon. I think I can actually resonate the resolution here just a little bit so I can make sure that everything is a go. So while we're doing that, we're gonna hop right into the business in the medical world. So you guys know I am a healthcare tech, but I am taking COVID calls at the current moment. So before I get into it, shout out to everybody that is viewing on Facebook Live.
What's going on, y'all?
Shout out to my niece. Shout out to CC. Shout out to Daisha and J Red and my brother Iko. Thank you for watching. So we're going to head straight into the vaccines at the current moment. So our vaccines right now, people that the doses have been going out to has been, in North Carolina alone, has been 5.29 million cases, okay, of people being diagnosed. People that have been vaccinated has been only 2.2 million. So that's only about 19.2% of our population. Gotta do better, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
For the U.S., we have 171 million. 64.4 million have been vaccinated, and that's roughly about 19.6 of our U.S. population. So, what's going on, y'all? And then worldwide, for everybody in the world, 711 million doses have been, sent out. 154 million have been vaccinated. So that's only 2% of the population. And y'all know it's only about how many billions of people in the world? That's not a lot.
What do you think people are afraid of?
Dying.
I mean,
the unknown.
But with the way technology is now, you would think that people would want to break the myth of, getting vaccines and stuff like that. So they would, do what we do. We talk about, these things. We make videos and stuff like that. Because that's how you break myths. That's how you break the whole stereotype of, get a shot turned to a zombie. Like, that's wild to me. Just be safe. And the best thing that we can tell you to do is, if you take that route of getting the vaccine, know what comes with it. Do research. Yeah. Y'all quick to do research on, what's trending. So, I mean, y'all should do research on what y'all get the shot for.
Exactly. Just like the flu. They're just like, shingle shot. They're just like the pneumonia shot. So, just do your research, y'all. That's all I ask. You hit them with the what's real at Cap? What do you want to keep them going? That's
transitioning over to what's keeping it real, or are they keeping it Cap? Like I said, we try to keep it 100 the best way we know how, and get a response from our followers and whatnot. So y'all let us know how y'all feel about the things that you run into or the things that we talk about, and let's keep it real. We're gonna keep, or is it Cap? So I ran into a post, and this is more like personal thing that I've ran across. There's a post that was said, "I'm sorry, baby, but I can't have sex with you if you don't have a credit card." And I thought it was interesting. I'm like, okay, so if you think about it, would you not have sex with someone because they don't have a debit card?
Well, no, because not a lot of people use debit cards, for security purposes.
I mean,
and, there's
true.
a lot of breaches, and a lot of people nowadays carry cash. Me personally, I like my plastic. I lose money a lot. So at least if I lose a debit card, I can cancel it. I can't cancel cash. I mean, once it's gone, do you know how many $20, $5, $10 bills I done lost? That could have been in the bank account, and I could have just been like, "Oh, report my card lost. Go get the money out of the bank and go on about my business." So no, I wouldn't.
So what do you think would be capped as far as like the things that people look into that would prevent them from having sex?
That's a good question.
You know, and followers definitely feel free
I
to
would say
leave a
the
comment.
cap for me would be.
I mean,
hygiene.
because really?
Yep.
So you think that's something that you could just like not? That's not gonna outweigh like the person. Like that's not gonna bother you so much to where you can't date that person or you will have sex with them.
Oh, you that like what will stop me from having sex? Bad teeth. Bad teeth.
Some people don't care for the way
And
people
fucked up
dress,
toes.
which what would be capped for me would be like the way people dress, because you can change the way people dress. You see what I'm saying? Like you can improve. You don't want your man or your woman to be out here looking like any type of way, especially if you know how to dress too. You're a reflection of me. I refuse.
And that's on period. But
you
you can't
so
fix toes.
that's capped. Like you
toes.
can't define, or you can't just stop yourself from like dating somebody or stop being with somebody because they don't know how to dress. Now that's definitely capped. But moving on over to Quavo and Sweetie, they had been trending like crazy. And I know the last time we talked about them, it was because they broke up. And at that time, we were thinking if it was real or it was cap, whether or not, their relationship was real. So moving on from that, there was a video that came out. And apparently this happened before they broke up. So with that being said, yeah, the video was that happened, that whole altercation, huh? My bad. I appreciate it. So, the altercation that they had was before they broke up.
Okay.
The fact that it was released after they broke up is that, and it's just kind of like, on top of that, there was a post of Quavo being in the studio. And, typically around the time stuff like that happens, it's either for, they're trying to promote their album and stuff like that. So, at this point, what's real, what you got going on. So Quavo reportedly breaks his silence and issues out a statement that he hasn't touched Sweetie, like he hasn't physically abused her. And have you seen the video?
I saw the wrestling, the tussling, the part 2 of Beyonce and Solange.
So I don't feel that it's really my place to judge their relationship. However, there have been other videos where we've seen altercations like that, and it's either been blown out of proportion or, it truly is what it is. But I hope what's not the case is that, he did put hands on, besides this video, or that, was released to everyone, or just in general, because, we don't condone abuse of any form, any shape or form. So hopefully, it's Cat that he touched her in that way.
A lot of people speculate, okay? As you guys can see, the video is blatantly showing them tussling over a bag. Mm-hmm. Why are they tussling over a bag? We will not know unless they do an interview. My thing is this. We on the outside looking in, as spectators would do. I saw Sweetie swinging on him. Why she swung on him? He could have said something out the way to her. He could have did something to her to make her react. However, this is the thing I don't understand. Women think that they can just put their hands on you and you won't slap them the fuck back. That's the thing I don't understand. And I understand that women train their men or train their sons not to hit women. That's the courtesy, respect. You won't want your daughter getting beat up by no man. So you shouldn't put your hands on either the mother of your child, your mother, or your girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I get that. Out of respect, I get it. But it's a sexist thing to me. It's a stereotype. So you're saying I can't put my hands on you, but you can put your hands on me, and I can't retaliate back. Oh no, man, that's not what we're gonna. That's not what we're not gonna do. So if we can't, you know, talk it out as adults, or you walk away, then we're just gonna have to duke it out, and we're just gonna let the world handle it, and we're gonna let them talk about it.
I mean, the crazy thing about the whole, just a relation, not really the crazy thing, but just in general, like, you know what you built with that person, and you know what you do, you know what works, and you know what doesn't work. So when, let's just say, if like physical altercation takes place both ends and they're both in a way being abusive towards each other, that's all they know because that's what they brought into the relationship, and that's unfortunate because your relationship is already out in the public, and people already are sensitive to the things that they see on social media. So when you want somebody to pick a side, it's really hard for somebody to pick a side when there's so many variables in the video that makes things questionable. So like I said, I hope and I pray that things get better there to people in general. So let's move past this, and let's be better people, because now it's just another black couple that's posted out on social media cutting up, and y'all are out here promoting yourselves like y'all are gold, and that's what drives me crazy because it really shows that y'all just as normal as we are.
They give us something else to talk about. But that's besides the point.
So I'm gonna make it short because I know that you in the hot seat today.
I am in a hot seat today.
You were in the hot seat.
We have a special
today.
guest, y'all.
Hey, so 2 U.S. Capitol police officers are suing Donald Trump for his role in the Capitol riot. So do you honestly think that he's going to take responsibility for, if he is the common fact, if he's the factor, if he's the reason, and they charge him for it? Do you think, as a person, he's going to own it?
No. He doesn't see reactions as is his fault, because people make decisions. People have their own minds. They're not robots. They're not dummies. But they're going to use that as ammo. Oh, well,
Sure.
Donald Trump said this, so we're going to react to it. We're going to stand up for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, everything's going to be a reaction, but he's not going to fall for it. He's not going to stand for it. So it is what it is.
He's not going to impact.
He's not. He's a businessman at the end of the day. So, he's going to persuade his way out of anything.
The business, unfortunately, outweighs the empathy of being a human being, which is what I feel sorry for him because, honestly, you don't really have what he doesn't have that love that surrounds him. He doesn't have that nourishment that he needs, and it's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And that's the type of people you gotta pray for. So my last keeping it real with Cap. Now, honestly, because I haven't really looked into it, and I know a lot of people have. Lil Nas X has been trending like crazy with this video and whatnot, and working with the devil, and the controversy, the conflict with people who are Christian and those who are in the church having comments about the video. But leading more into that, Nike denies involvement in the creation of Lil Nas X Satan shoes. So these shoes apparently had real human blood, correct?
That's what it's saying.
So I don't believe that it was real human blood that's in there.
I don't know. I don't put it past nobody these days.
I mean, the video was already risky. And that's just about as soft as I can put it. And I think it also fits the generation. Mm-hmm. When we grew up, we didn't imagine putting ourselves in that type of light to let everybody know it's okay. We had to kind of go about it differently, look at it from another angle because our parents were raised, either that don't ask, don't tell type of thing, or, I'm going to beat your ass because, I didn't raise you like this, or, it's just, it's unfortunate, I'm gonna make sex with a girl. It's just a lot of things that could lead to trauma, and he exposed that in the videos. So now migrating over, to the shoes and whatnot. Now, Nike, did they really make the shoes? No, they didn't make the
No,
shoes.
they suing.
How much money?
It's some money. It's like a bill. It's like close to like what? To millions. It's in the millions and billions. It's in there.
How much were the shoes?
I don't know, but people
thought they were like a stat.
People bought them.
And they're not getting their money back.
People bought them. I'm just like...
And they're not getting their money back. And that's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
So, that's my segment as far as keeping it real cap. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. You got the hot seat now.
I got the hot seat, guys. Our special guests, Brian and Craig of the BS Experience, are in the waiting room, ready to make their grand appearance on the show. And so I'm just going to briefly go over some gossip with you guys, just a quick brief before bringing them on. And so before I do that, let me just text this message. All righty. And I'm going to hit you guys with the 411 before we bring on our special guest. All righty. So George Floyd case has been going on for about 9 days now. It's about to be 9 days tomorrow. So 2 medical doctors have testified against the police officer, saying that the lack of the oxygen was due to the police officers on his neck. Even the forensic scientists said that there was not enough fentanyl to make an overdose. Okay? So y'all do as y'all may with that gossip, honey. And y'all stay tuned to that. Okay? So as it has been spiraling, as I got the message from World Star and the Shade Room, Ashanti and Flo Rida possibly might be dating, y'all. That might be a little...
What?
Bah, 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 bah.
Where the hell has Flo Rida been?
Miami. And she got that good girl. So, he got that good. But, they're speculating because they have pictures of them with her family and his family and stuff. So, do as you may.
I'm not even... My reaction is just... It's like those two out of all people.
But they would make a cute couple, though.
I'm not taking away from them as far as their looks or anything. It's just like 2 odd numbers. Like...
But we'll hop on that on the next segment. I'll keep y'all updated, okay? So DMX brain function is not showing any improvement. So his family might have to make the difficult decision on pulling the plug. So you guys keep DMX and his family in prayers. You just keep on listening to DMX. They might have a DMX day. Who knows? Okay. It's been 26 years since Bad Boy has premiered. Damn. I was 2. Shut up and you were 2. All right. If you guys have seen Reading Rainbow growing up, the guy that plays Reading Rainbow might be, taking Alex's spot off the Jeopardy. So that'd be weird, but okay. And Claudia Jordan tweeted and made an apology stating that DMX was dead.
Claudia.
So, girl.
Claudia.
Girl. So that is the shade. Good old Audrey T of the evening, y'all. So, bankruptcy, girl. But we are now about to bring on our special guests, Brian and Craig of the BS Talk Experience. Oh my gosh, y'all. Let me tell you, I had an interview with Craig, and he is the most straightforwardest, awesome person ever. Like, he's just dope. You really have to just see it in person. And this will be the first time I get to meet his partner. So I'm super, super excited. So you guys are ready for our guest? Here we go.
Let's do it.
Oh, we're just waiting. Maybe we're going to pull up. Maybe. Can you see us, Brian? Craig?
Yeah,
maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know. I think it does.
Maybe.
Doesn't seem like it's working.
There we go.
All right, it's working. Hi, guys.
How are you?
Good. I wore a shirt this time.
You know what? You could have went shirtless. Probably the ladies would have loved to see a nice white chocolate man with a nice body on the screen. Heck,
White chocolate. Thank you for that endorsement. Thank you. Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
y'all kind of scared us for a minute because there was 3 screens, and I was like,
We may have had Casper.
I was like, did we lose them? Wait.
Yeah, this is our first time doing Facebook, so we don't know what we're doing.
Huh?
I think we got to figure it out. Try to make it too complex, and I'll just using a laptop.
We are too, so don't feel bad. We're learning as we're going. But welcome. Welcome to Keeping It Real. We're so happy to have you.
So, Audrey, who is this you got with you? I don't think we've met.
Okay, so I'm going to let him introduce himself because you already know me, Craig.
Well, I'm the other co-host. I'm the other host. I'm sorry. I'm Zert. A lot of people either follow me on TikTok or Instagram. Somewhat of a comedian, not really. I think I'm funny at times, not all the time.
Cool.
But, we've been best friends for 14 years. So, whenever we created this, it's for those who felt like they didn't have a voice to have a voice, and like this is our platform to where we grew our voices together, and we literally made this podcast, whatever, for everyone to be open, to be who they are, to enjoy themselves. A little bit about me: I'm an anime freak. I love anime. I also am in the IT world, so I've been in the IT field for going on, I want to say 9 years now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite anime? Top 3.
Death Note is probably one of my favorites.
How do you feel about the new live action? I knew that was going to get him.
I'd much rather read.
My favorite anime is SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
That's not anime?
No, that's a cartoon.
It's okay. We can agree to disagree.
Well, I feel like Brian and Craig, looking at you guys' personalities, I feel like I'm Craig and this is Brian.
That's weird because
I feel like Brian is like
it's the hair, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
the hair. Well, okay, so I'm the only one with the hair.
The only one. And I used to have I used to grow my hair out for 4 years. I just cut my hair not too long ago.
That's not you. We're having so much audio trouble over here.
There's a little bit of audio delay on our end.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us fine?
Yeah, I figured it was.
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay.
Good. All right, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, Brian and Craig, how could you guys just introduce yourselves to the world? Like, tell the world who is the Talk BS Experience. Let us know who you are.
I'm very curious. What are you guys about?
I think I'll let Brian start because he invited me to be part of this.
Yeah, so the abridged version, if you will, and this was kind of the epiphany was actually him, and I was going to do the show regardless of his involvement, but he was the inspiration to actually, and the epiphany moment to create it. So I'm glad he joined in. But what happened was I float between a couple of different states and float within several different groups that do not get along with each other and have very strong opinions and differences of opinion at that, where I can't invite them all in a party at the same place. And there's all these crazy tabletop discussions that all these crazy topics from cancel culture to racism to whatever it is that nobody wants to talk about publicly, and none of these platforms allow those discussions. So I wanted to create basically an unbiased platform where we can sit down and talk about any subject. Nothing is taboo with, people who have a position. What is your position and why do you feel that way? Why are you the way you are? Like, as an example, let's say a racist. We're not promoting racism under any circumstances, but there's a lot of people that feel that way, right? So we're happy to have that open discussion with any topic, right? And then now when I say Craig here was the inspiration, so
That's me.
yep, he gave this speech about patriotism on Facebook, as a matter of fact, of all things, Facebook, and he gave this speech on that he wrote. And it was like, you know what? All these people are thinking about this, but this man is going to get so much hate, canceled, friends lost over his opinions. But the thing is, why? Why can't we talk about these sensitive topics? So instead of, there was no show at this time, but instead of inviting him to be a guest on a show that I created, I wanted him to be the host. I wanted him to be I hate to call him the mascot, but the honorable asshole. So that's who Craig is.
It's me.
Yeah, and here's Craig.
So yeah, I was excited when Brian asked me to be part of this. I don't think I really understood the concept of it at first, but like for me, like over the last probably 4 or 5 years, but especially over the last year, I've been watching the media pick out sensitive subjects, whether it's slavery or LGBTQ community, um, combat veterans. Like, let's just pick any corner of culture that has had like an extended painful experience on how the rest of culture has treated them. Vietnam War vets, whatever. And what I've seen media and political figures do is telling people they're victims and picking their scabs and then sort of creating all these different subsects of cultures kind of against each other. And it's like a distraction, I feel like, from actually maybe paying attention to much more important things. But like what's been really, it's really hurt me a lot watching how our country and our cultural fabric pair over the last several years. Like I feel like we were actually a lot closer together and probably less aware of where we were different 3 or 4 years ago than we all are now. We've had politicians picking all these scabs over the last 3 or 4 years, telling us we're all victims, making us feel disempowered, and telling us we need them to fix our problems. And so when Brian asked me to be part of this podcast, I was really excited once I understood the concept, because as we looked around, like Brian showed me, there's no like platform that's really graciously discussing really sensitive subjects. And everybody's shying away from these things, but you go to the pub and everybody's talking about it. And the fascinating thing for me too, like I was just talking about this at the bar with a friend of mine last night, and yes, I go to the bar every night. There's a quote Ben Franklin said, well over 200 years ago. He said, "Revolution starts in the pub." And I feel like right now we are in the midst of a cultural revolution, and I really want to be on the front of that. So that's why I'm really happy to be here doing this with Brian, but also why I'm happy and honored to be on your show today.
Oh, thank you. Well, we are grateful to have you guys over on our show. I remember when I did my interview with Craig, it was very interesting indeed. I have to say, a lot of people loved my interview.
I had a lot of fun.
I want to say I really appreciate it. I did too. I really did too, because it was fun to give my perspective as a transitioning, a trans woman, especially in the Bible Belt state here in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So we definitely had like a couple of free topics we want to throw at you guys just to get you guys insights, because as you know, we keep it real, raw, and unfiltered here.
Oh,
so, we don't mind.
And I've got a quick question for you, because I've been following you on Facebook, and I know the surgery and all that. How are you feeling? Are you recovered? Are you holding up good?
Well, my throat's not. My throat. Well, I didn't have the gender reassignment surgery, because a lot of people thought that. A lot of people thought I was having gender reassignment. Yeah. Based on that. So no, I'm not far in my transition yet to have that. And I'm still on the fence on it, to be honest. So I really haven't debated that. But no,
we'll put it on our show.
Huh?
You do it, we'll put it live on our show.
Okay. All right.
That.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys know when if I do, you guys will be the first one to know. Okay. But no, I had hernia surgery, so the recovery takes a month, but I'm okay. I'm okay for the moment. But I wanted to know because I know Craig has very good insights on the transgender community. So, Brian, I really didn't get to talk to you much about it. So, what is your thoughts on transgendered and the new law that they're passing in certain states that children are banned for their hormone replacement and have to wait until they're adults?
So that's a several different topics and a lot of let's unpack that a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not a simple, straightforward answer. That's
Mm-hmm.
like asking I have a toddler, and that's like asking her if she can smoke pot or drink too. There's
Right.
a certain age of consent, right? Can a 6-year-old consent to sex, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that has nothing to do. Once you put the LGBTQ, once you put transgender, once you put those labels on there, it kind of muddies those waters. But I think there is a certain age that a child should not be able to make those grown decisions.
Correct.
So that's first and foremost. So I absolutely agree that there needs to be an age. Now, what that age is, I'm not gonna that could be 16, 18, 21. That's very, subjective.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think kids should be making those adult decisions. So I'm in favor of the kids not being able to do that for that reason. And my thing is just like getting a tattoo. If because we're talking about surgery, we're not talking about homosexuality, we're not talking about feelings, right? You can feel whatever you want to feel, be whoever you want to be. But if you want to go under the knife, I think you should be able to get a tattoo at the same time you should be able to go under the knife. And the thing is, if it's that important to you and that's a part of who you are, and you're going to transition, what's a couple more years?
Okay, you know what? That's a very good logic. And well, from my experience, because when I was growing up, there was an age limit. We couldn't even have surgery even at 16 because again we were still children. So we would have had to wait till we were 18, 19, 20 years old to make those adult decisions. So I personally completely agree. But as far as saying as therapy like hormones or testosterone, I again think you should wait until at least you had puberty, at
Well,
least to
yeah.
know if that's the route you want to go. So
Well,
because you haven't even hit puberty, and of course, people age and puberty different, so it's
sure.
also
Well, now you mentioned hormones and stuff, and I have a background and a knowledge in a little bit of steroid use, so I do understand how hormones affect the body. To a
Brian,
small
aren't
sense.
steroids illegal? Who
I
would
don't
do
know any.
that? That's
Yeah,
illegal.
no one would ever do that. But the point is in that
Knowing
is
people though.
is you got your pituitary gland, you've got all of these other, you have your thyroid, right? You have all of these internal systems that I think that if you're going to play with your hormones, you got to wait till you're done with puberty and fully developed. You don't take a developing body and alter it. You got to wait. Like I tell any of my old athletes when I was competing in powerlifting and strongman, I'd have kids come in all the time, and I'd say, wait till you're 30. Now, granted, that was my always response, but it wasn't like get 30 was the answer. It was just wait till your hormones are done developing. Wait till your, testosterone peaks. Wait till you're ready, physically ready. And physically ready is different than mentally and emotionally ready. Because as a 17-year-old, you're physically not ready, but you're mentally and emotionally ready.
Hmm.
Wait till your body levels out. Wait till your body's ready for it. Then you can change your hormones if you want to.
gonna say it better myself.
Can I ask a question real
Go ahead,
quick?
that's it.
I've
Oh,
got a perspective there that people can probably hate me for, but
I'm
that's
ready.
another
Go ahead, give
show.
me your perspective, Craig.
So this is like one of my thoughts too, and you watch what social media is doing to kids now, and kids are being bombarded by all these different like potential lifestyles on social media. And but one thing that's probably the most horrible thing about social media is people kids now are growing up feeling and believing and social media and the relationships they're having on social media are the core of their relationships. And so there's like it's kind of stunting like their emotional maturity. And like what I worry about with like watching these kids is they're so, they don't have like a core foundation of like quality, like deeper friendship, like in person, because they're so dependent on social media. And so there's like a lot of needy behavior that goes on. And so like, what I would hate to see is, and I wonder if you guys have seen this happen, where a kid to basically just get attention as they make a statement of being bi or trans and wanting to go in that direction, when they're still maturing emotionally. Um, like that, because I see kids like acting out in very vivacious ways at this point. And what I want to be careful, I'm not saying here is that being trans or any form of LGBTQ is like an act out method. It's just a potential direction that maybe a person could go to get attention, but maybe not all the way there, and then regret it later on in life before they have had the time to understand the context of that life being a different sex, that community. That would be my concern.
So the I was gonna ask you guys a question, but as far as just like the you guys' insight on the not just the LGBTQ community, but just you know the generation now is crazy because one, social media is such a factor, and
Yeah.
the next thing you do see is like everybody's phone in their hand, and so their relationship is really with their phone versus with people, so they don't know
My
how to
phone
deal
is
with
so
that.
sexy right now.
You said what now? I'm sorry.
My phone is so sexy right now.
So I was going to ask you guys. So is this like the podcast? You guys' development. You guys' maybe is this like your form of therapy? Like it's therapeutic for you, or is this something else that you guys invest in that's more therapeutic that kind of helps you like relieve yourself from the stress of like the world or just like work or whatever?
Um,
I think we have two different answers here, but go ahead,
yeah,
Craig.
I'll go ahead and dive into that. So as far as like, are you referring to, is social media the context of your question?
No, us doing the podcast.
Not just social media, but just in general. If it's not you doing the podcast and you using that as a
Yeah.
therapeutic method, it could just be something else. And I'm just kind of interested to
Yes.
know.
Yeah,
You know,
actually, yeah, I think I've got a good answer for that, or at least my answer. I knew it would be that once Brian asked me to do this, because I've like ever since I was a little kid, like I felt like I was going to discover my unique idea. Well, it turned out my unique idea was Brian's idea for me, but like this is great for me, and it's really like at the start of the show we talked about how I have a it gives me pain watching our social fabric tear in this country, in this world, as people are finding their disagreements and the way they're different as like reason to bicker and fight on social media and even in person, like burning cities and attacking each other. And so for me, like to be able to bring on people onto this show and be able to interview them, I'm daily challenged in my own perspective and what I thought. And what's really warmed my heart a lot is, like, for example, like Audrey and I, we're completely different people, but we agree on probably 99% of things. And so for me, like, and even like I called her a tranny, and I didn't even know that was like derogatory. And but so I learned through that, and Audrey was very gracious and kind through that whole process. But I think a lot of that is because we didn't come on the show wanting to battle each other because of the perspectives I have that are ignorant of Audrey and the ignorance Audrey has of my perspectives. We came on to actually genuinely learn about each other. And so, yeah, this podcast sells some pretty crazy shirts and coffee mugs, and I am a crazy motherfucker, but I am generally interested in actually learning and growing, and that's what the podcast is supposed to be doing, and that's what it's done for me.
okay.
I think for me, just to answer that quickly, I wouldn't say therapeutic because, like I said, I said we'd have way different answers. So I thought about the show like a producer, like in the background. I didn't even see myself being on it. But Tell you what it does for me. It's my life. I run as a principal partner and CEO of a larger insurance firm out here that's a specialty insurance. I've got a 3.5-year-old daughter. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my world that is very stressful, super stressful. And what I find is when I'm in the podcast, when I'm interviewing, like my interview with Tim McLaughlin, right, who's an actor. I was completely checked out of the other realities. I was 100% in. I wasn't checking my phone. I wasn't checking my emails. I wasn't thinking about sales calls. I wasn't answering. My phone is actually off right now. I'm not taking any incoming calls or texts, right? So for me, this is, I mean, I guess you can call that a form of therapy, but for me, this is a completing, like, unplug from the stress of my life. So this is a couple hours of stress free, don't think about anything else. And this is no pressure. I literally have no stress doing this. So it's just a nice unplugged check out of reality for a little bit.
Sounds like a form of therapy, Brian.
Damn it. Damn it, Craig.
Well, thank you guys for answering my question.
Yeah.
I can tell just like, the chemistry between you guys. What I love is authenticity. And the one thing, it's hard to find that in podcasts, nowadays, is because, everything is just kind of forced. Everything is just kind of like, there's really no flow. It's just like, sometimes, and it's okay to be all over the place sometimes, but it's good to have chemistry with the person that you're working with, and you guys have that. So I appreciate you guys for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a sidebar question before we get to our actual topic. If you guys wasn't
the actual fucking topic yet? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you had to ask me.
Move along.
I sent it in the text message. See, you wasn't.
All right. We'll get to it before I have to take a shit.
Yeah, I did that before the show. Okay, so you guys are not doing podcasting, right? What other type of therapy or hobby would you guys do?
I ride Harleys. That's an easy answer for me. I mean, that's really pretty much 100% it for me. Like, I grew up really, really rough in a very rough home, and I'm also an ex-combat vet. And so, like, up until probably about 6 months ago, I was in therapy once a week for almost 10 years. But at this point, I figured out too much about myself. And so there is something about the wind in my face and that monotonous rumble of the motor for miles that I figure out a lot of shit. And it calms me, and it's very meditative. And you'll hear this from other bikers too. So that is my therapy at this point. Like, that's where my meditation comes from. And I actually think about a lot of weird ideas for this podcast too then.
Awesome. I do too sometimes.
I was about to say this. It's a lot of like things that we deal with, like on the personal. Like, we'll be away from each other and be like, "Yo, let me tell you what happened," and then it's just like, "Yo, we gotta use that."
We do.
Like, it's
we be in sync. It's weird. It's weird. What about you, Brian? What would be your?
Well, I actually like to, but I haven't in a while, just because of a daughter, and my bike's in another state, and I haven't been to Chicago, my other home, in a minute. But I actually find the same therapy he does in the bike stuff, and I have a Jeep, and I off-road. I do off-roading and rock crawling.
Oh, like buddy?
That's how Brian and I met, was Jeeping.
So have you ever crashed your car while?
Oh, wait, crash your car or crash your car while off-roading?
What? That's like paddling.
I was crying. Okay, so like she's piggyback, yes. So like off-roading.
I crashed the car into a lake, and I had to swim out of the lake.
And the answer to
good thing we speak the same language.
That's right. And the answer to your question is yes, I have. Throughout the last 20 years, I've crashed multiple bikes, cars, and vehicles off-roading.
It's very hurty. Ouch.
The adrenaline.
Right. The car insurance and the repairs for me.
My thing is has always been, I'm an adrenaline junkie, and things that scare people actually excite me, right? So, whether it's skydiving or base jumping or riding my motorcycle, street racing, whatever it is. Now, I'm 41 years old. I don't street race anymore, but in my 20s, I did all the time. Doty Road in Chicago, for everybody listening, knows exactly what that is. I've actually gotten a few cars pink slips that way. And the reality is, anything that for me gives that level of just that endorphin rush of those hormones, and you get that adrenaline rush where a lot of people like panic and freak out. I actually calm down and I get excited and I'm ready to go, and then I'm in go mode.
Interesting. That's dope. Well, now we get down to business.
Great.
So,
Woo!
yes. So, all the unfortunate
I'm
events.
tired.
Well, you thought we didn't go to bed then.
Go on. I'm kidding.
So, throughout the course of these 9 days with Joyce Floyd and the Asian hate crimes and my best friend's family being home invaded by an intruder, our main topic around this podcast today was how safe is too safe, period.
Or like how
Get the
safe
bubble
is
wrap
safe.
out.
How safe is safe? Huh?
To get the bubble wrap out.
Yeah. So I guess I'll let you guys go first, and let you guys or you send on it and we'll go. You just let us know.
Well,
Well,
I
so
brought it
I'll
to
start with.
I
I'll
brought
actually.
it to best friend.
Well, I'll start with this because you unpacked
Okay.
several
No,
different
go ahead.
questions. Can you hear us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. There's a delay again.
Yes.
So my wife is Asian. She's Filipino, and I can tell you right now, with family and myself and my family on her side, they have, and I've been dealing in like secondhand, but directly dealing with a lot of discrimination. Go back to China, terrorist, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff, and just people being ignorant and disrespectful. The reality is, in America, someone always has to be the target of hate. I mean, that's just the way it's been. I don't think it's right, but there's always, when it was September 11th, when September 11th happened, not only were people from Pakistan and Middle East and that, but you had people from India that are Hindus being attacked, right? I mean, just anyone that looked different. So I'll talk, and then of course, I think we're on the same page, I believe, on George Floyd so I'll let him cover that, and the safety thing. But I just think it's pure ignorance. People are scared and they're angry and they need to lash out. And unfortunately, as divided as we are as a nation, the big politics and the people and the powers that be need us divided. And the reality is, if it's not one group, it's another. If it's not the Mexicans, it's the Asians. If it's not the Asians, it's this. There's always a group being attacked. And right now, the focus is on the Asians. And I think it's just temporary. I think we surround them up and, put them in camps in America. That actually, happened in history too. It's just a matter of there's always a group that has to be a focal point. And right now, because of coronavirus, the Asians happen to be that focal point. And you've got all these people with all this aggression. Ah! Well, who do I lash out now at? Well, right now it's the Asians. Let's go lash out at them. And I think that's what it is. Now, I'm not defending that, and I think it's bullshit, and I think that it's unacceptable. However, that's all it is. It's just America doing what it's always done. It's just, this time around, it happens to be the Asians. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
Well, first of all, I have to say, like, I'm very disappointed that Brian's wife brought coronavirus to the United States. So,
No, man, I got injections and shit out of it. I got to wear a face mask in the bank. It's cool.
so
I got a funny bank story for you later too.
But I'm willing to forgive her.
Oh, Lord.
I want to forgive her if she makes a on which. So, all good. But no, like, for me, like, I get and it pains me that certain people groups are and have for a long time all over the world received the heel at some point. sometimes for hundreds of years, sometimes for a couple days. But like at this point, like I feel like 99.9% of us agree that that's not okay, and we don't behave that. So we don't behave that way. But we're fucking spending 90% of our free time discussing this shit. And that's exactly what the media and politicians want, is they want to divide us, focusing on like separating us apart. And so, like Brian said, like it's Asians right now, but it's it's not like you're getting hundreds of thousands of Asians murdered or put in internment camps. Okay, like let's rewind back to World War II. Like we literally put Asian people in camps in this country because we felt like we couldn't trust them. We've made fucking progress. Okay, so what I don't like is the media is spending so much time on this that it broadcasts it. It makes a small problem. Forgive me if you feel it's larger than my sense of small, but bear with me. It makes a small problem way bigger. Like the more the media talks about this and the more the politicians say this is a problem, the bigger the problem becomes in our mind. Then we divide and then we become in fear. And so, how safe is too safe? Like, it's a context. Safety is a feeling. It is an absolute feeling. Safety is not a reality. So the more we talk about what we're afraid of, the less safe we all are. And that's exactly where fucking politicians want us, because then we will listen to them about the solution, and then they are the solution. That's how I feel.
Hmm. It's with everything that's going on, as far as the police brutality. You have of course racism that's still there. The conversations that
Hmm.
we keep having is really just focusing on, okay, we know that it's a problem, so what are we going to do about it? And a lot of people are in that mindset of wanting to do anything about it. They just want to keep creating the problem by repeating the same thing. They keep talking about the same thing. Like it's like you're programming at that point, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like if
Yeah.
you're only programming people to only listen and not take action in a way to where we get results, and not the results that's going to be destructive, for everyone. But there has to
Hmm.
be a better way of going about this. We come from two different backgrounds,
Yeah.
yet I've never met you guys and I can have a conversation with you. I don't see how like someone is not capable of doing that. Like you're capable. You just choose not to.
Capable of what?
It's a choice then.
Conversation.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Well,
agree. Yeah.
well, well. So here's where I'm going to disagree with you for a second, but not focusing on you.
Right.
We're four individuals. We
Right.
can have an open-ended discussion.
Right.
When you're dealing with a media outlet with censorship, no longer is that bias or that openness. Now that's controlled, right?
Hmm.
So if you and I want to have a conversation, that's great. I guarantee you, we couldn't have this open discussion on Fox News. People aren't coming
Right.
to the podcast. I mean, I hope that they do, but people aren't coming to keeping it real for their news.
Hmm.
They're not, right?
Right.
They're coming to it, the ones that do know about it, and oh God, it blows up bigger than Joe Rogan. But the reality is, people aren't coming to you for the news, and that I think is the problem. Is, as Craig stated, it's turning this little small problem into a big problem. Take for example George Floyd, because I know you mentioned him, right? Here's the thing: there's a lot of things wrong to break down in that case, but here's the one thing that I have a problem with. And I get a lot of
Hmm.
flack for this because they're like, "You're a bald white dude. You're not supposed to be talking about this shit." And I'm like, look, the cop that killed that guy, and I'll use the word killed, doesn't
Hmm.
represent all law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying there
Right.
might not be a law enforcement issue or law enforcement. I'm saying that cop does not represent all cops. That George
Right.
Floyd does not represent all black people either. Why is he the spokesperson for black people? He is not.
Hmm.
He had a criminal record, blah, blah, blah. Well, it doesn't matter. He was still killed. Murder is murder, whether you're a saint or a sinner, murder is murder. But the reality is that's an isolated case. And again, going back to his mountain and molehill thing, it's an isolated case, and cases like that happen all the time. But what happens is the media focused on this and blew it up. But the reality is those people in that context do not represent anybody but themselves as individuals, right? And once the media wants to portray it as this is how all cops behave, this is how all criminals behave, blah blah blah, and that's what my issue is. The second thing I'd like to point out is when you said having this open discussion. Here's where I think we actually might get to an agree to disagree moment, but it's still an open discussion that is shut down on every other platform when you try to have this conversation. And I'll use something as an example of defund the police, and I'll say this very quickly. Say defund the police. It's not yes or no, pro or against. It's let's have a discussion about it. What is the specific? Now that's going to change from precinct to precinct, district to district. But you want to defund the police, okay? Let's entertain that. Exactly how much money are we going to take away? What is their budget? And what are we going to subtract it? Now, how are we going to redistribute those funds? Now we've got all this new money. And the common answer I hear is put it back in the community. And I say, shit, that's great. Water parks for everybody.
Right.
And then I usually get a very messed up reaction to that. Okay, well, we can't agree on that. The problem is there's no plan. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of screaming. And I'm not even saying that it's not a broken system. But what's happening, and I'm not pretending to know what the solution is myself. I'm just saying no one has a plan. No one has a solution. They're just pointing out problems and bitching about them.
I have a plan. Well,
I mean, yeah. Go for it, Craig.
Round up all the media and put them into a stadium and gas them. That's my plan. Start over.
Damn.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
I cheers to that.
Definitely.
I cheers
Something
to that.
100%.
So you
Yes.
so your shirt, No Lives Matter. That's the first time I've seen a shirt like that, and
It's so much
when
fun.
I've seen it, I actually want one because there's truth behind that. It's truth behind
We
it.
sell
Because
them
if
on
that
our
were the
website.
case,
We'll give one
yeah,
to you.
I'll definitely look into that. Thank you.
Yes, I would definitely want to wear it on the next
Because
show.
it's truth, and here's why I say that, and I'm gonna take a moment and I apologize if I did.
No, do your thing, man.
It's your show, man. We're
It's
just
just
guests on it.
it's just the simple
You
fact that
guys.
if a life mattered, then the results would be different. And no matter if it's black, white, Hispanic, Asian and whatnot, a life is a life, and we all share that one life on one planet. And so
Mhm.
if we can't all come together for just one, and not and put everything else aside, because it's so much hate in this world, and I do what I can to show people that there's still that love there, there's still that genuineness there. It's
Yeah, your
it,
shirt is a start on that message.
I'm
I
sorry.
said your shirt is a start on that message.
Right. I
Good, Len.
but
Go
I
on.
definitely I like it. It's because it started cutting up. The audio was distorted,
Yeah.
so I'm sorry. I was trying to
Rattling.
read in between what you were saying.
Crash.
The pit
Y'all not gonna come for me.
cat. Oh yeah,
Well,
for
we have a
sure.
new shirt coming out that will get you. It's only certain types of lives matter, so we'll get you that one too.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
kidding.
you. I mean,
You know,
I am a fashion ambassador, so it.
Okay, good.
I
well,
will
we've got
definitely
a product line. We'll send you a bunch of stuff that you can support.
Oh, thank you. I
Most
appreciate
definitely.
it,
I
for
wear a
sure.
small, by the way.
I was gonna
So
say
I had
text
brought
your size and your addresses, and I'll get you some stuff.
thank you.
But
Thank
I'll
you.
throw this out there. They just make it lighthearted, but we're talking about some very serious and dark shit, and obviously we're having some laughs. One of the things I actually learned this in a college class, and I'm sure it's a common college teaching, but it's something that just made sense to me. I don't know why it like made sense to me at the time. They said if you're going to make rules for society, even though you know who you are because you're making society for the future and for your children and grandchildren, so on and so forth, design that society not knowing what you're going to be when you come out. You don't know if you're going to be black, white, female, male. You don't know where. You don't know if you're going to be old or young. You don't know what you're going to be,
That's a
but
good
you're going to be
point.
thrown into that society. Now, how do you want to divvy up the discrimination now?
I like that.
All of a sudden nobody wants to. Right, exactly. And I think that taking that approach is not that we're all equal, because we're not, but the discrimination shouldn't be based on race, it shouldn't be based on sexuality, but it should be based on the right things to discriminate people against, right? Like poor versus rich, or skill versus unskilled. Like if you're a firefighter, for example, and you're not strong enough to lift the damn hose, and you can't do a fireman's carry, if you can't physically do the job, well, that's a physically demanding job, and just because you have feelings and you are physically incapable of doing that job, the standard should lower,
But
right?
Brian, I like fire hoses.
But you can't fire your truck. You just push the button. But it's the idea, though, that I think that if we're going to judge people, we need to judge people off their abilities and merits, not off of anything else.
That's fair. I like that.
I like that.
I have nothing to add to that other than
I
the fire
judge
hose
her all
comment.
the time.
I'll get you a fire
Judged
hose.
her for 14
We're
years.
selling fire hoses now.
I don't pay him no attention for enough for him to judge me, so it's okay.
Get your fire hose here.
That's the new opening to all the shows now.
I was about to say this first. I think it's the worst that y'all gonna clown me for the rest of the show for this.
Listen. Oh, the pity pat.
Y'all so judgy.
I don't know.
I mean, I can talk on that.
Now they're figuring out which questions to actually
Now
ask
what?
now.
Now what? Yeah, it's getting
Oh no,
thick
it's
in
not.
here.
I was actually, because I don't like taking away from asking questions, because best friend had already had the opportunity of meeting you guys. I'm just taking out the opportunity, taking advantage of it. What are you two? What's your zodiac signs?
What's that?
Aquarius.
Oh, you're an Aquarius.
January 31st.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yep.
I think I'm a Sagittarius.
You think? When is your birthday?
What?
When is your birthday?
December 16th. I'm pretty sure that's Sagittarius, right?
Google it.
Oh yeah. He's definitely a Sagittarius.
Oh, ain't that water
He-
signs
he's
together? Y'all go right
Sag.
along.
He's
No, that's a
Sag.
fire sign in Aquarius. Aren't you guys are air signs, correct?
Yes, I'm an air sign. And I'm and for all you zodiac freaks out there, I'm a true Aquarius. I'm not on any cusp. Not on the cusp of Capricorn. I'm a true Aquarius. Yeah.
Also, lucky you.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky you. We're cusp, so we're on the two level playing fields.
Yeah, I'm a classic Sag. Just a classic Sag over here. Doing Sag things, thinking in Sag. Eating Sag snacks.
Pure Sagittarius. So he's straightforward. You don't like nobody to lie to you at all. Both you and an Aquarius are both like that. Y'all do not like when people lie to you. You take it a certain way because you're around people
Shut up,
who
you fucking
shouldn't
liar.
lie to you.
That's
So
right.
why? Yeah,
Exactly.
You fucking lying right now? You lying?
Not at all.
Well, yes. But isn't that? But that's not a zodiac sign. That's a humanity thing, dude. Why do you want to deal with somebody you can't trust?
No, you can be around a whole bunch of liars, or you can be around a whole bunch of yes people, and then they never tell you that you're wrong. So that's
Kardashian. That's a Kardashian sign.
Yeah,
they're liars. They like lying.
That's why him and I actually behind the scenes, we've never come to blows or anything, but that's why we actually disagree, because we're brutally honest and we're both opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
We disagree.
Are y'all into?
See what you did?
Well, I'm sorry. Are y'all watching WrestleMania this week?
A what?
Are you guys watching WrestleMania this weekend?
Surprise! You would think
Got
that.
into wrestling.
That's prejudice. That's a
Not at all. I'm black and I watch
Are
my
you, are
God.
you eating collard greens tonight?
Jesus Christ.
Actually,
I'm
I
just-
I had cabbage, by the way. So,
No, the
Uh,
only reason why I'm asking is
I'm
because
not. But go on with your question. I'm not.
yeah, I haven't watched the world of wrestling since like Andre the Giant was around.
oh really?
Yeah.
Andre the Giant. Oh my god.
I
What
don't
do
know
you
who them people is.
Like late '80s, early '90s.
I don't know who that is.
It's late 80s.
I'm a blonde when it comes to wrestling, so
Well, you've got quite. You have another wig then. Cool.
That's the dismissal.
listen. It's actually braids, Craig.
Sorry.
Pull this one off. This I might pull my hair out if I do.
Well, I thought it was real until you outed yourself at the start of the show.
How? How did I do that?
You said something to Brian. I don't remember. Can we get back on topic, please?
The reason why we developed the topic "How safe is safe" to kind of sum everything up was what best friend mentioned earlier. My family recently had like a home invasion. Someone was in their house. I was literally they were away for a certain period of time. Came back. We have they have cameras, and luckily my dad he was like, let me look at the video. And then he noticed that there was somebody leaving from the bedroom down the hall going downstairs. And so when he looked at the video, he took the family outside and he was like, we don't know if this individual is still here, whatever. So the police had to come. They checked the house. Long story short,
Mhm.
we had people that was trying to figure out what was going on. We had a neighbor across the street. He had no shoes, no socks on, had a big bowl of cereal, just eating, like watching
That
everything
sounds
go down.
delicious.
I'm sorry.
That sounds
Oh, that
delicious.
sounds like the hide your kids, hide your wife. I mean, I'm watching all of these. Yeah, that's what it
And
really
then
is.
you
Yeah.
had somebody next neighbor next door trying to figure out what was going on. It's just like a whole bunch of questions, and no one really asked, if we were okay or anything. But what was interesting was that one of the neighbors actually saw, a car go up and down the street and actually open up the garage door, and so my parents, I know my family, they're very, they're very secure. They'll check and make sure that the garage door is closed, the doors are locked and what have you. And so knowing that, you know, my family, who I view as being like the most secure people, hell, even during this whole pandemic, they've been, to themselves and taking proper protocol and whatnot. I'm like, now I'm paranoid because my family was exposed to someone who didn't care about their life or what was going on, or like they all they wanted to do was just do whatever. We don't know what their purpose was, but
Hmm.
now it's a traumatic experience for me because I have a 17-year-old sister, you know, and in the video the guy is like huge, and it's just like, what if she was there? Something could have happened, and at that
Yeah.
moment you feel powerless. And I feel like with what's going on out here in the world, I feel powerless in the sense. But it's, what can you do? Like, what can you do when you can't go to the police when you're scared of the police, for instance?
Yeah.
What can you do when you don't have, like, your family that you go to and talk to them about your fear? Like, it's so much that's going on. So that's why I feel like, how safe is safe nowadays. And what you said, it's a feeling, and it's literally make it now. How do you feel secure in this world? It's so much
Hmm.
going on. Like, what can you do? It's so much to stay above water.
Yeah, I think like to that point though. First of all, I'm sorry your family went through that experience, but to the point is people, we as a culture are forgetting the difference between truth and feelings. And so there's the reality of situations, and then there's our feelings. And what the media does incessantly, and what they have always done, and they're getting way better at it now, is they're broadcasting to our feelings. And so the reality of situations is a lot different than our feelings tell us. And I honestly like, and I don't mean to be insulting in this, but I feel a huge piece of emotional maturity, which is being forgotten by the coming generations and Xers leading into millennials, and it gets worse with every generation, is understanding the fucking separation between reality and feelings. It's really, really important to understand those things. And so, like, so when we understand, we look at for specifically like the situation where people right now are very focused on police brutality. Yes, that is a concern. Is it a concern with every cop in every precinct? I really don't think so. But that is the feeling that we're getting now, and people are removing themselves from actually calling in the police and bringing in care that is there to support them and help them because of feeling that the media has led them to believe with repetitive over focus on an issue of many issues. So that would be my perspective.
Right. Okay.
I do.
And I agree with Craig. I don't have anything really to add to that, but I will say that as he said about how you feel, right? So here's the feeling of feeling safe, right? Some people are afraid of the dark, right? Now,
Mhm.
I right now, when it gets dark, where we're currently at, it is dark. I mean, it is fucking dark.
We're talking about actual light levels, not skin color.
Right. So it is so dark that you literally cannot see in front your hand in front of your face dark. You need a big flashlight to go around, right? Now there are people that are terrified of nighttime. They can't take 5 steps. They're gonna run to the garage, hit the light, and run back because they're fucking terrified. And then you have other people that'll just say, "Cool, we're gonna go camping and just go hike into the desert and pitch a tent," right? The fear factor is feelings.
It's
The reality
perspective. Yeah,
is perspective. But the danger factor is the same in all of those
that's a
scenarios.
good point.
But it's how do you react to that? So now, what are the real dangers? Are there scorpions? Yes. Are there snakes? Yes. Are there wild cats like cougars and stuff? Yes. There are things out there. But now the reality is, just like let's say driving. Driving is very fucking dangerous. It is. But you got your
Right.
seatbelt on, you got blah blah blah. And the reality is your perspective of it, of how dangerous an activity is on you as an individual. It doesn't make the activity any more dangerous. Going outside for a walk in the dark is not that dangerous to me, but for someone else it could be mortifying terror. And so now this is where that reality comes in. Now, in the event of a home invasion or locking your doors or anything, the reality is statistically, what are the odds of that happening again? If you lock your door every time you lock your door, what are the odds of someone breaking in, right? And we have to look at real world statistics and real world threat levels versus just it happened, so I'm scared. Well, what exactly happened, and how often does this happen, right? What neighborhood am I in? Does this guy know this people? Am I personally being attacked, or did they just think I had nice shit? Was it some dude who was just high? We don't know this. There's so many unanswered questions about the example that there's no way to feel about that, right? There's just how do I feel about a situation that I'm totally ignorant to all of those details, which may seem mundane, but they're not.
Yeah, and like we're not trying to take away from like the unfortunate situations where police are brutal. Um, any of these things, George Floyd's death, whether you think it's like a fentanyl use issue or that he died from fixation from the knee being on the side of his neck, like any of that. But what we think is important is to not let ourselves be distracted by outside forces that do not have your fucking best interests in mind. And so we have like the last 10 to 15 years, Facebook and social media has been gathering data on how we are emotionally affected and sold to most. And they're linking up big tech with the media and they are starting to. They are, and if you've seen The Social Dilemma, which is a great documentary, this technology and this data that they've been gathering for the last 15 years, advertisers are using it, media is using it. They are using it to steer us to monetize certain other resources. And so now, every time you watch the news, like I think it's really important as you digest what you're watching on that screen, what you're hearing on that radio, how can this be used to manipulate me and my perspective of the world? And so, what is a feeling and what is reality, and how do I, work between those two species of character?
Okay.
Yeah, like for example, yourself. You said you feel fear, right? But the
Hmm.
reality is, are you feeling fear because of an emotional response? Which I'm not saying isn't valid or justified, but it's the question: is this you, or is there someone really out to get you?
Hmm.
Is there an imminent threat every time you walk out the door because someone personally wants to attack you? Or are you just scared because someone attacked somebody close to you?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So if you don't have any other reason to, so when did this home invasion happen?
This past weekend. Like
Okay.
it's
So the
still
week, so how is your
fresh.
house
So
any more
it's
secure the weekend before, or the weekend prior, or the weekend prior? It's not. The threat level is exactly the same 3 weeks
right.
ago as it was last week. The only thing that has changed due to a personal experience is your perspective on it and your feelings on it. But the threat level, the how safe is safe, 5 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago, and last week, your place, your residence, your situation is equally exactly as secure as it's been, as it's always been.
Right. You right. You're right about that. I think the
A
fear.
side note: is a Scorpio a scorpion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, for sure. So I appreciate that. Um, it helped. So it helped me look at the identity of that fear, like the root, the essence of it. Um, this is the first time this has happened, and I was raised to where you if you didn't have like a security system, you check the house. Like you would literally go through the house, see make sure nobody's in it and whatnot. And I believe we got in to where we relied on the security and whatnot, and then it's just like, okay, well, what if we had checked the house? Maybe we would have, spotted some. But then, certain other things may have happened. But um, good thing about it is that no, like I said, no one got hurt. I just know I felt vulnerable in that moment because I'm just made me realize, shoot, I'm human. As much as I am my own worst critic. I'm
We
human.
all
I
are.
can't be there for them, every time something happens, or I can't live in paranoia. But what I can do is at least, talk in the space where it can help me move on from it. And this space has
yeah,
definitely helped in that. Like I said, it's still fairly, fresh for me. I don't, I love family. Family is important to me. So, at that moment, it's just like I could have, lost everything, but I'm grateful for knowing that I have these people in my life, so and
yeah.
that's what I'm focused on. So I appreciate it.
Now, if you want to put a price on safety, I'll come there for about $10,000 and just stand outside the door.
I mean, when I get paid good money, I don't mind. The stimulus you can step stimulus checks.
Send you a quote. Send you a quote.
By the way, he doesn't actually protect
Okay.
nothing. He just stands there. So if the person wants in the house, they're just going to walk right past them and he's going to do this.
Well, that's
Like,
not an awesome gift. I'm really actually getting into Uber Eats, so I'll probably just like order a lot of stuff.
I'm a foodie.
And then he gonna go to sleep.
Love
Nah,
Uber Eats.
nah.
Well, we
Right, what else do
appreciate
you
you
guys
guys.
got?
Mhm.
Huh?
What else do you guys got?
You know what? I think we answered all our questions.
Yeah, for
Now
now.
that
I
we've
mean, this was
thoroughly ruined your show.
Oh no. You know, I love personality.
I do too.
And like I said, be who you are. I love authenticity, and you guys have remained that. Thank you. You know, it's hard to find people who are just willing to just be a part of something. And regardless of what this is, we're connected with you guys now, and hopefully we remain that way. So again, thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Likewise.
Well, now I found out I'm a scorpion too, so like I'm gonna work on being more stingy.
Hey,
This
I
is,
need
this is
to. I'm gonna give you a whole flow chart of what the zodiac signs are,
I'm
and
gonna get
then by the time we talk next
this
time, you may be an expert.
So for
I'm trying
Halloween,
to figure it out.
I was planning on being COVID, but now I'm actually going to be a scorpion instead.
Too soon.
You can just, you can just dress as Sting. How about that? He's a
Oh,
scorpion.
so, yeah, I'll segue into this on the COVID thing. So you know where we have our masks. So my
Right.
wife just she just walked away from me. But I said, so here's what happened. We go there, and I'm wearing a ball cap, no sunglasses, just a ball cap, and my normal face mask, which is like a neck gaiter, and because you got to wear it in the bank. Anyway, I get it there. We're doing all these transactions. Midway through, they ask me for my ID. And then they say, "Sir, can you take off your hat?" So I did. I didn't say nothing, took off my hat, but I've got my face mask on. It's like covering me from here. And so, long story short,
Right.
when we do this whole transaction, loud enough to where I know everybody heard me, but quiet enough to where it only appeared that I was talking to my wife. I said, "Thank God they didn't ask us to take off the masks, and they'd realize we can do this shit with other fake IDs tomorrow." Like, Jesus Christ, robbing banks is so easy today with COVID.
True dat.
Don't know who I am. I mean,
They made bank robbing so much easier.
take any fake ID. I can
I'm
take
telling-
anyone's stolen ID, walk into the bank, and they'll give me the money because I got my face mask on. Yeah, no, I was having fun. Yeah.
No, it's good you're safe though while you're robbing that bank.
Well, I was doing, I was ready to paddle.
Yeah.
But you know how actually feeling. I felt very safe.
We done gave y'all some ammo for your podcast.
Oh my God.
Well, we appreciate you guys so very much for joining us for the first time. This is literally the first time that we had both you guys on our podcast, and this is the first time you guys got to meet together. So, and me and you, Brian, this is the first time we got to meet for the first time.
Yeah, we've talked on the phone a few times, but never saw each other.
Yeah, never saw each other. So this is really dope. Like I said, Craig definitely kept me very entertained. The whole experience. So I had my whole life.
The collard greens got me. It was the collard greens for me.
Mommy.
So before you guys go, before we wrap up our show, do you guys have any questions for us?
Ooh. God, I bet I do. What is your favorite color?
Oh,
easy.
Red.
Not this.
All right.
It's blue, actually. Blue is my favorite color.
I like chrome.
Chrome. Oh, that's
Yeah.
different. Not too many people who say that they like chrome.
Don't you dare fucking say it's not a color. I don't want to get
Not
into
a
this
color.
I'll need to get in this argument with you guys at the end of the show.
I was about to say.
I don't think it is a color on the spectrum,
I like
but
I mean,
look at all the crap that Lady Gaga dresses up in. It's chrome. It's a color.
let's look this up on Google, shall we?
look, and then when you look up Chrome, you're gonna find Google Chrome. That's what you're gonna find.
Well, thanks again for having us on.
We're very welcome. So you guys stay around for a little bit and we'll talk after our show. But we want to tell all of our viewers, thank you so much, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live, for watching our incredible show. on our topic, how safe is safe. You done got the news, you done got gossip, and you got the lowdown tea of the day. So we appreciate you guys, and thank you for watching. Until
Thank you.
next time.
This is Keeping It Real with
Audrey.
and Trez.
Make sure you tell your audience to check out the bstalkexperience.com and the BS Talk Experience on Facebook. Like, share, follow. Bye-bye.
And, yeah, this is my new sign off.
We'll see you later.
We're gonna put out your merchandise before you go.
So if you go on our website, click shop, and it's a Teespring account. That's who we use. But go on our website, the bstalkexperience.com, click on shop, and the store opens up.
Very good. Peace.
So let's redo this.
Yes.
This is Keeping It Real with
Audrey
and Trez and the BS Experience.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.